And as part of that joint venture, Hunter received his portion of good faith seed funds, which he shared with his uncle James Biden and Haley Biden, with whom he was involved with at the time in sharing expenses. First, and by the way, this is going on, and Donald Trump is the one in court. Are you crazy? This is, well, we are privileged to have with us once again Congressman Pat Fallon, Republican of Texas. He's on the House Oversight and Accountability Committee, and thank goodness he's holding them accountable. Welcome back, Congressman Fallon. How are you? And what a contrast. What a weird world, huh?
Well, Greg, thanks for having me back on. And we know one thing. If liberals didn't have double standards, they would have no standards at all.
So your story, and I feared this when it came out a couple of weeks ago, has been vanquished by all this fake news about Trump. Just give us an update on how the committee is doing. My understanding was the receipts you found or those suspicious activity reports, just a sliver of what's to come.
Yeah, there's no doubt. So we thought a suspicious activity report for your viewers is something that's generated when a financial institution thinks that there's money laundering or fraud or even sexual trafficking, human trafficking, something along those lines. And it's very rare to get one. It's odd, in fact. The Biden family, we thought, Greg, had 150 SARs generated by financial institutions. Come to find out, it's closer to probably 250. We finally have been granted access. And when we get back to Washington next week, I will actually be able to go in. I can't take any pictures of them, but I can take notes. So I'll be able to, me and my other members of the Oversight Committee will be able to review these because they're awfully suspicious. And they think all roads lead back to Hunter Biden and eventually Joe Biden.
I know you're taking a look at the Congress is asking questions about Alvin Bragg and what he's up to here in New York. And I hope you guys can find out something. This is totally outrageous. But I want to bring up Mark Levin, one of the greats on talk radio, the great one, Mark Levin. And he has urged Republican prosecutors out there to basically start looking at Democrats and seeing what you can find and, pursue the law like they're pursuing it against Trump. First of all, I love Mark Levin. It concerns me a little bit if Republicans start doing this to Democrats. I mean, part of me wants that, but I'm also concerned, and I feel like maybe we are better than that. But what are your thoughts?
Alvin Bragg, Greg, has paved the road to the banana republic. There's no doubt about that. If you're going to indict a former president, it better be an ironclad, open and shut case. Instead, it's this absolutely weak silliness. What we know is this. We know that the federal prosecutors looked at this in 2019 and they found nothing. We know that the FEC looked at this in 2021 and they found nothing. And then ironically, Alvin Bragg looked at this in 2022, Greg, and he suspended his investigation because there was nothing there. So what has changed? He's just buckling to the left. We don't have to look too far other than Hillary Clinton. She was found liable by the FEC for hiding over $1 million, her and the DNC, in what they said were legal and compliance issues or expenses when they really were paying for the fictitious Steele dossier. Hillary was fined $8,000 and the DNC was fined $105,000. That's almost the same amount of money that this alleged hush money payment was.
So he paved the road to the banana republic. Do we all want to run down that street? You know what I mean? I get it. I get it. I want to. Well, anyway, listen to this from Alvin Bragg. It's one of the many crazy things he said.
In order to complete the scheme, they plan to mischaracterize the repayments to Mr. Cohen as income to the New York State tax authorities.
Income as tax. I kind of like that one. I've heard of tax evasion charges, but I haven't heard of getting in trouble for declaring income and telling the tax authorities that the money. Anyway, I think you should know this on the committee and elsewhere about Alvin Bragg, because I always hear he's the people's prosecutor. He's not really. There are 2 million people who live, actually 8 million people who live in all of New York City. 8 million people. That's a lot of people, okay? Only 82,000 in 8 million, only 82,000 voted for Alvin Bragg on primary day. And that's tantamount to 85,000. That's tantamount to winning the whole thing. And oh, by the way, primary day was rigged. They now rig it, and they have it on the last day of school in June. Nobody votes. Nobody even knows there's a primary. So this guy does not have a lot of He does not have deep support in New York. All right. So I don't know if you can do anything with that, but just keep that in mind as you start looking at this guy. And what can you do? McCarthy was talking about it. What can you do?
Well, we can see any federal funding that goes to his office, his prosecutor's office, because we can pull that right away. We can haul him under oath in front of one of our committees, Oversight Judiciary, and ask him specifically what the heck he's doing here, because his main concern and job is to keep the streets of New York safe, not indict a former president that lives in Mar-a-Lago, Florida. This is absolutely absurd. This is political. Can we ask just one question to the viewers out there? Great. If Donald Trump was not a political figure, would these charges be brought? Obviously not. So this is nothing but an absolute political witch hunt.
And you know what? I don't want to spend the next 2 years talking about these charges or the next 6 months. That's what they want. You know what I mean? And having these panels and going deep in this indictment. I want to talk about Joe Biden. I want to talk about those issues. And I think we should possibly resist. We got to go through it, but I don't want to fall into that trap like they had us fall for with the Russia stuff and the Ukraine and the other phony impeachment. Thank you very much, Congressman Fallon. We appreciate it, and we'll be right back.